Hello.
Please.
Where can I sit so I get asked the least amount of questions?
Outside the door.
Phone up to me, Ma's not calling me.
It's working.
No, it's not.
No?
Oh yeah.
I'll use your mic.
What did you do?
I dropped the microphone.
Yeah,
Microphone's
use the
gone.
microphone. Nice try.
I have other tricks that I can use. I guess we can talk.
Alright. Okay guys, let's start with the nomination tonight. How did you feel about that? How did you react to that?
Well, I'll take the lead. Yeah, I mean, Eleanor's nominated, the show is nominated, I'm nominated. Yeah, it's very exciting. It's the first time that I've been nominated at this festival. It's the first time I've been to Monte Carlo. So yeah, the whole thing is, it's great, it's very exciting, and we're all looking forward to tonight. It's been a great year for Poldark. So yeah, we're going to have fun later.
Yeah, I think thank you. It's just an honour to be considered in that category, and yeah, it's great that the show has been so well received, and as Aidan said, it's really lovely to be here in Monte Carlo, and yeah, I'm really amazed by all the fan support we've had as well.
Good vibes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really nice.
How about, what was that?
Hi.
It's working.
It works, okay. Yeah, no, I mean the category of nominations that we're in, and you know, with the show itself, the other shows are incredible. So it's an honor to be, you know, amongst such an amazing shows, and just that it's so lovely.
It's also a proof of the international triumph of the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Would you comment on that and how it kind of noticed how well it's doing over the world?
Yeah, I mean, I think me and Eleanor, you know, witnessed it yesterday. I think this is the first international sort of experience that we're having in terms of Poldark fandom, and it's just such a lovely thing. And we did, there is some social media that you kind of start realizing that that it is being watched over the world, but there's nothing like seeing it in person and, you know, having the fans come out and.
Didn't it just sell to Netflix or something?
Yeah.
In France?
Yeah,
it's finding its legs in Europe, which is really exciting.
Yeah, so very excited.
How do you explain that it kind of touched a chord and it's doing so well over the world? What's the?
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I think that there is something universal about the stories that we're telling. There are all of the things that I'm writing about and the stories we're telling are, you know, there's a terrific love story, but there is it's set at a really turbulent time in history, and we kind of think that that's 18th century and it doesn't go beyond that. But actually, when you look at all of the things that the stories are about, you know, business rivalries, businesses going under, greedy bankers, political upheavals, and then a terrific love story, which is, you know, a love triangle and rivalry between two strong business characters. None of these things ever go out of fashion, and they are universal the world over. So that's why I think as a story, it is really popular.
Sorry, this question's for you.
Yeah.
This is the first role you were actually offered. Is that not the case?
You're Irish, what are you getting at now? What are you trying to say?
Okay.
Yes, it was.
There is a story which you related to the fact that there was 3 names, but was it just one name? Or was it?
Debbie's probably better qualified
tell
to
this
answer.
story, actually. No, there was one name. I can absolutely guarantee there was only one name, because I was the person that wrote it in my book, as the one and only person I thought should play this part. And Damien Timmer, who is one of the other executive producers, did the very same thing. So there was one name. Unfortunately, he was available and liked the scripts. So I think we made a good choice.
Yeah, you got to stick with it, obviously.
I've got to stick with it, yeah. If my name was pulled out of a hat and I'm the only name, I should stick around, yeah.
And season 2 is set in the autumn, which means
Well, we've
No
filmed
shirt.
in the autumn.
Didn't film in the autumn, yeah. So it's kind of cold in the autumn, isn't it?
We were shooting that. Yeah. It was a different season for us. I think we were kind of lucky. There was a couple of days that we had to stand down, but relatively, I think we were quite lucky. I think
the storylines get much darker as well in this. Oh, thank you. Get much darker in this series, and so that was really nice to film across the winter because you get a completely different feeling.
It works for the tone, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that, it was nice to see a different side of Cornwall, see the more kind of stormy side.
What strikes me in the pilot is that Poldark come back from American Civil War to find his father dead, estate ruined, and lost his sweetheart, but he quite ended it pretty well. I think so.
He ended it pretty well.
Yeah.
Handled it pretty well.
Handled it. Sorry.
He was bitter for quite a long time. I mean, that's the one thing that got me. I mean, when Ross came back and he speaks to Elizabeth says, but I thought you were dead. I mean, he didn't write. He was away for 3-4 years. It kind of makes sense. I mean, if I was in his shoes, I would sort of understand the situation. It's not easy coming back and walking in, gate crashing an engagement party where your best friend's getting married to your beloved. I mean, that's a tough one to bitter pill to swallow. But I mean, given the circumstances, I suppose you'd have to understand. Nobody expects him to return. So I don't know if he handled it well. It took him a while. I mean, and in the second series, you see that maybe not all is has been buried with him either with those feelings. So yeah, I mean, it was a tough situation for him, all right.
What can you tell us about season 2?
Oh, Debbie, what can we say this season 2?
Well, season 1 ends quite literally on a cliffhanger, with Ross being marched away to prison, and you think that it can't get any worse, but actually it gets a lot worse. The rivalries that we set up in season 1 only get more and more bitter. The love triangle gets more complicated. The business ventures become more disastrous, or rather under more jeopardy. So if you thought it couldn't get worse, it absolutely can.
What does that mean for you?
What does that mean for me? Yeah, very interesting scenes. I mean, it's interesting to. That's what's great about playing a character in a series like this. I mean, the first series was 10 episodes, was 8 episodes. The second series is 10. I mean, to be playing a character for 18 hours of television it's such a luxury. It's such a joy. I mean, you get to explore the character in such depth, and to see Ross from the beginning, the opening scene that we just discussed, to where he's at the end of season 2. That journey is just massive, and you feel it all the way, and it's become, I don't know, it's instinctual now. I think our characters are sort of, without sounding too sort of worthy about it, it's sort of the essence of it is kind of with us all now. There's an instinct that we have for these characters that I think we're quite familiar with. It's comfortable.
The original Poldark, Robin Ellis, appeared in one episode. How was it to meet him, and did he give you any advice about the previous series in the 70s?
Robin's great. He plays a character called Reverend Holtz, who's the judge. I mean, I've spoken about this before, but it was an interesting. There's a scene where Ross stands up for a character called Jim Carter, who's being sentenced for charged for poaching, and Ross stands up and he says a few words and he tries to get him released, and that scene, in that scene, Robin Ellis is playing the judge, and Robin came up to me and said, I remember this so well, 40 years ago. So I remember playing this scene, trying to save Jim Carter, playing Ross, and having this dialogue with the judge, and that was just so surreal for me. And then we kind of talked about, I think Robin said, I wonder in years to come, will you play Reverend Holtz and sort of complete the circle sort of thing, He was great. I mean, Robin isn't the kind of guy that would step up and give you acting notes or advice on how to play the character. He's really sweet, humble, intelligent, kind guy, generous with his time, and just to hang out with him was enough for me, and talk about how they used to shoot it back in the days. I mean, how technology has changed so much, and that was what was interesting for me, not getting notes on
And
Ross.
he's coming back in season 2, in series 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
I live in the US, and when we get a show from the UK, we're kind of expecting something different, more complicated characters, more deeper relationship, this kind of stuff. How is it to live on to this expectation?
Wow. I don't know where to take that one. I mean, I don't know. Can you ask that again? I didn't quite follow the question.
First of all, do you realize that there is a certain expectation when it's a series coming from the UK and you're winning abroad?
There's an expectation. I think there's an expectation with every TV show these days. The standards is so high. I mean, there is no room for a show that, to stay buoyant. Shows sink so often now. There's no room. I mean, every show needs to be successful, and there's a huge market in the US. And I mean, to find an audience over there is quite difficult. I mean, we were lucky. We went out in PBS Masterpiece, and I think our ratings were quite good, and we found an audience there too. So we've been really lucky with our audiences. Yeah, it's a tough market. I think they all are. I mean, not less tough than the French shows.
Do you think Poldark story is like a Robin Hood story a little bit, in a way?
No. I think it's a story of the underdog, really. Both Ross and Mel, to a certain extent, are that. But I think it's got so much more to it than the classic kind of fairy tale or damsel in distress feel. I think certainly from my character, Damel's point of view, I think Ross takes her under his wing and takes care of her and brings her up, but she still stays very strong and she's very true to her own morals, and she never, really ever does as she's told.
No, she's an independent thinker, isn't she?
Yeah, so I think it's different actually, and I think that's what's great about it, is there are these incredibly strong female roles in it that perhaps I think everyone tends to categorize things into love stories or fairy tales, that kind of thing, but I don't think this is.
I think we have one final question here.
There has been, thank you, there has inevitably, for better or worse, because of the certain scenes in Poldark, you've got the sex symbol thing happening with yourself, Aidan.
Totally, yeah.
Naturally. How do you feel comfortable with that? I mean, it brings people to the show, I suppose. But
I don't really give it much thought. I mean, I'm not dodging the question, or I'm not trying to bow out of this one. But I don't think about it at all. I mean, that scene was about the scene for me. There's a lot going on in that scene for us and for the show. If we're talking about that scene in particular, but I don't give it much thought. It's just, I don't know. It's not going to last long anyway, dude. I mean, in 10 years I'm going to be fat and bald. It's all over.
And season 2 is autumn, so you get to keep your shirt on.
See what I mean? Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, come on, what? Should we get around the board? That would make more sense.
Not bad. Like,
lovely. Thanks very much. Yes.
See you later.